Hi, I'm Dr. Chip Szymanski with Gulf Shore Chiropractic. Today's topic is about how to quickly and effectively treat tennis elbow. Before we get into the treatment of it, let's walk you guys through on what are some of the more common causes of tennis elbow. Now, when we talk about tennis elbow, most people think that you have to be playing tennis or playing golf or be an athlete, right? Well, a lot of people actually develop tennis elbow through overuse syndrome or repetitive. Such as an electrician or such as a painter who use their wrist and their arm quite a bit, and that leads to chronic wear and tear. So now let's get into why you should be heating or icing your elbow when you have pain. Typically, heat is designed to help with spasm and sometimes pain. Now ice is designed to take down inflammation and to limit your pain. Now, what I recommend most people to do is that when you have an aching and throbbing pain, you can put heat, okay? And when you want to apply heat, you do not want to apply heat right at the point where the pain is the most severe, which is right at the lateral epicondyle or right at the medial epicondyle. You want to apply heat on the muscle belly, okay, where the flexor portion of your forearm, or on your extensor muscle of your forearm from here on down. Just refrain from putting heat right at the point where it is the most inflamed typically, and that's right where the epicondyles are. Again, the lateral epicondyle and the medial epicondyle right through here. Now, with regard to ice, that's where you do want to apply the ice, is right where the pointy end of it and where it is the most severe, which is again right on the epicondyle here and here. Now, ice is designed to take down swelling and inflammation. So when should you ice? You definitely want to ice it after activities such as playing golf or tennis, or after your work, okay? So at the end of the day, you're gonna be sore, you're gonna be inflamed, you definitely wanna put ice in it. With icing, I recommend doing about 10 to 12 minutes. You can go upwards of 15 to 20 minutes to take down swelling and inflammation. So now let's get into the meat of it a little bit more. With regard to what stretches you should be doing, I recommend doing two kinds of stretch, okay? The first one is to stretch your inside of the elbow or the medial epicondyle here, or the flexor muscle. Then what you want to do is you want to lock the elbow, put a lot of stress with your wrist, okay, and put the pressure towards your wrist, and make sure that the elbow again is straight, not bent. If you're bending the wrist, you're not going to put stress in the elbow. You're going to be putting stress mostly right in the wrist area. So locking the elbow would put a lot of stress right in this region right through here. Now on the lateral region, okay, on the outside portion of the tennis elbow, you want to flex. You're gonna flip your elbow over, or your forearm over, and you're gonna have another flexion of the wrist here. Okay, in this case here, it's gonna be different because the wrist is pointing downward, and you're gonna feel the outside stretching right through here. And the key is put a lot of pressure where it becomes uncomfortable, and you're gonna have some pain with it too. And make sure that your elbow is again not bent, but make sure that it is straightened out and locked. So our next topic is going to be how to target the spasm muscle in the forearm to limit a lot of the pain that you have when you're having tennis elbow. Now, a lot of times people will come to me and say, "Hey doc, but you know what? I thought my elbow was weak. I thought my forearm was weak. That's why I developed, this tennis elbow." Well, most of the time, yes, that is true, but oftentimes it's because of the inflexibility in the elbow or in the muscle itself, okay? So what I'm going to try to help you guys with is trying to put a lot of pressure points and really strip these muscles out that are spasming. So what happens is when the muscle is spasming, it's shortened up, right? So think of it as in if you have a rope, right, that doesn't like to stretch, okay? And you're forcing it to stretch. Well, if you're forcing a rope to stretch and it doesn't like to stretch, guess what happened to it? It's gonna tear. So that micro tear will oftentimes be caused by, again, repetitive wear and tear, which then leads to tendonitis. So how you wanna limit that is by putting a lot of pressure on these trigger point, a lot of adhesions right through here. So let's walk you guys through on how to put pressure on that. So first thing is you want to do is you want to find the medial portion of the elbow again, okay? So this is the inside, and that's again, you palpate and you feel where you feel like a little knobby point right there, and again, that's the medial epicondyle, okay? On a muscle chart here, let's help you guys find that out. So here's the elbow right there, and again, you're just gonna go right on towards the medial portion, or right on the inside here, and until you feel that bony protuberance right through here. And then pretty much once you find that, you're gonna go downhill just a teeny bit and inside towards your elbow, and then you want to strip and put pressure right through here. Okay, now the pressure should be painful. Okay, if you're not having any discomfort while you're putting pressure on it, I promise you your progress will be very, very limited. So make sure that it is painful while you put pressure on it. Now let's go to the outside portion of it. Now the lateral region of it, you're gonna go outside, find the lateral epicondyle, and all you're gonna do is you're gonna move it downward and in just a teeny bit, and you're gonna wanna strip these muscles right and these tendons right through here. Okay. Again, the pressure point should be the same. So now that we have talked about when should you be heating it or icing it, and how to stretch the tendonous elbow out, and how to put pressure on it to relieve your spasm and muscle in your forearm, we're gonna go right into the most important phase to me. The most important phase is to when you start to do all those things such as heat and ice and so on, to get it to heal up, to help it to stabilize. You want to strengthen your elbow and strengthen your forearm arm up, because the reason for this is that if the muscle are not strong enough, inevitably you're going to have repetitive injuries again, and then you're going to restart the whole process either 3-4 months later, or a few years later, because you're overstressing that region again. So this is one of the most important phases out there that you have to do and that you have to finish to keep this tendonous elbow from coming back. So let's walk you through what are some of the muscle that we want you guys to really stress or really put pressure on when you're doing some exercises that we're going to be walking through. So again, the tendonous elbow is typically again caused by either the flexor muscle or the extensor muscle of the forearm. So here it is on the muscle chart here. The flexor muscle is the muscle on the front of your forearm, okay, which is the one that helps you to move your wrist in this way. The extensor muscle are the muscle on the back of your forearm, on just the top of your forearm right through here, but typically it's on the back side. That's the muscle that allows you to move your wrist up this direction, okay? So how do we strengthen the front of the elbow up? It's really, really simple. The front of the elbow up, or your flexor, you want to do exercise such as bicep curls, okay, with your palms facing up, okay? So the reason for that is that when your palm's up, you can see you're gonna be stressing the flexor portion of the muscle. Now you can do some wrist curl, but it's gonna put a lot of stress on it. I like to have you do a lot of exercises that are less stressful on the tendons itself at first. So, and in this case here, doing a bicep curl is much more, is less stressful than doing a wrist curl, to me. So doing a bicep curl, just your regular straight up bicep curl for your flexor of your forearm will help to develop this muscle. What you want to do is you want to do about 2 to 3 times a week, just like you would be rehabbing your own, but you're doing it at home, right? So do it maybe on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I really don't care, how you space it out, but you definitely don't want to do it consecutive days in a row. Particularly when you're sore, you even might want to skip a day. So just say that you're supposed to do on Monday and Wednesday, right, and Friday, but you did on Monday and Wednesday, you're like, oh boy, I'm really sore from that, from doing those exercises. Then again, wait till Thursday or Friday and repeat the whole process again. So the key is not to overuse that particular muscle that has been stressed and overused already. Now with regard to reps and sets, you want to do about 4 sets, 3 or 4 sets, but I encourage you to do about 4 sets of about 8 to 10 repetitions. Now oftentimes people will say, well, how much weight, doc, should I use? The weight is dependent upon the condition and what state of healing you're in, right? So typically, if you are someone who has pain level of a 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 level, you can probably go up to a moderate weight. A moderate weight means that for most of us, starting out with tendonous elbow, you can probably use anywhere between 10 to 15 pounds. Now someone who has a lot of severe pain, you might only be able to do about 5, so just 5 pounds. So just say if the weight, if the pain level is maybe in the 6 or 7 level out of 10. So the last thing that we're going to talk through is how to strengthen the outside of the elbow, okay, or your extensor muscle. My favorite exercise for that is to do what we call a hammer curl. Okay, with a hammer curl, you would hang onto a dumbbells, or you can use bands, and all you're gonna do is you're gonna curl up this way. So as you can see, it actually forces the brachialis muscles and also the forearm muscle out here to really strengthen those extensor up. Now another way that you can kind of deviate a little bit or modify it is by turning your wrist downward to really accentuate the extensor muscle. You can do either one of them would be helpful, or you can do both actually if you wanted to. But my favorite one is actually doing the hammer curl, because I feel like it puts more stress without really irritating that tendon on the outside, especially when you are still inflamed. So thanks a lot for joining us, and please subscribe to our channel if you guys like it.